Welcome to another episode of Get Under the Hood. Hey everybody, this is Juan. I'm here today with Chrissy and Alan.
Hey Chrissy, how you doing this evening?
Good. Juan has the best radio voice.
No, I
He
don't.
actually does,
I really
doesn't
think
he?
he does.
Yeah,
He
does.
like sounds so serious.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to throw you some curveballs tonight if you're
All right,
ready for me.
I'm ready for it.
So we've been talking a lot about students and schools and what's going on in the area. So I wanted to kind of go over, if you have a child who is getting ready to drive for the first time, I wanted to ask a couple questions. And we're going to start with, what car do you think financially for a child makes the most sense and why?
Toyota or Honda?
Oh,
Toyota
you and
Corolla.
those damn
It
Hondas.
has to. because think about it. If you got a kid that's first starting to drive, and financially for you anyway to repair that vehicle, it's either a Corolla, a Camry, a Honda Civic, or a Honda Accord.
So those parts are cheaper than an American-made car.
Yes, and I
How
guarantee
is that possible?
because it's just better engineered.
Okay.
Yeah, Toyota's one of my favorite. When I used to have a pool service company, I bought only Toyota pickup trucks, and
That must have been years ago.
well, it was. It was in the 80s. But the only problem with them is they came with factory installed rust, but they would last
did have
forever.
a problem with the frames being, and they did have a recall out on them so that you could actually you could get the frames replaced for free when you had the recall. when
That's
they were doing it.
crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. But the engines, they just lasted
Yeah.
forever, and I'm not big on maintenance. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's
But-
fine.
Well,
That's
so-
what
It
I'm
lasts
saying,
forever.
especially for if you're not going to maintain it as much.
Yeah.
You can't beat. I mean, you could run a Toyota Corolla or Honda Civic without oil for a week and still be
Yeah.
fine.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So with that being said, so everyone like butt puckers when they get to 100,000 miles. For some reason, I don't know if it's for you guys, but I've noticed when everyone gets to the 99, 99, and it's almost at 100,000, they start to freak out. And say you have a kid.
Well,
like,
in the old days, 100,000 was the max.
Yeah. Your
well,
warranty was
times are
already
changing.
expired.
That's why I wanted to ask you. So people are like, oh my God, we're almost there. Is it really that big of a deal?
Yes and no.
Okay. For a child to
For
use
a
a car
child,
like a teenager.
No.
Okay.
I mean,
You're going to destroy it anyway.
yeah, they're going to destroy it. They're going to beat the hell out of it. Parts so when they hit a curb, it's cheap for you to go and get a wheel bearing and a hub, and put it in, and it's not going to break the bank. And
So maintenance-wise, though, they just need to stay on their oil changes and just regular maintenance their
not even-
parents do.
You could just make sure you got oil in it.
Yeah.
You
That
know.
was the beauty of them.
Yeah.
Man, I need to look at getting one of those for my son. He wants a truck, though, so
Yeah,
we'll
he
have to
wants
get
a
him a
Ford. You want to be broke? Go buy him
Yeah.
a Ford.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
anything. You go buy a teenage kid, a truck.
I'm going to give him my Dodge, and I'm just going to go buy myself a Honda now.
Yeah.
You've inspired me. I think I just go get a little Honda for myself, drive that around,
Yeah,
or
I
a
would.
Nissan.
They,
That's crazy.
they last. I mean,
Yeah.
literally the frame between the bed and the cab on my Toyota pickup trucks, over time, that frame would rust out and it'd collapse. And the only thing holding the bed to the cab was the drive shaft. You couldn't drive it
Oh,
anymore.
my
But
goodness.
they came with factory. But you couldn't kill it. Other than that, you couldn't kill it.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I've seen Hyundais too aren't bad. I've seen plenty of Hyundais that I've worked on have 200, 300,000 miles, and all they've done is just basic maintenance, or when something fails, they just fix it, and they're not crazy expensive. Some of the newer ones can be now, but like if you're on a budget, say $5,000,
yeah.
just go buy them a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla or something. They're gonna beat it
Well,
up.
that's
They're
great
gonna hit
advice.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's
it
great
is.
advice.
And most of the crash ratings, even some of the new ones. I mean, you can buy like a 2017 Corolla for $10,000 right now.
Well, when you're talking about crash, that actually leads me into my second question. If there's kids or parents listening, what are the first things you should tell your child if they're in a crash to do instead of just drive away?
Make sure
Freak out and drive away,
Yeah, don't ever drive away.
Yeah.
I was in the Target parking lot and I saw a young 16-year-old driver hit somebody and just peel off. And I'm like, oh my God, that was horrible. And I just witnessed this.
Never
but
drive off, pull off to the
there's
side.
cameras in those
Yeah.
parking lots too, people. So you should
just-
let your kids know to look for cameras. But if they get into an accident, what would be some of the things that you should recommend to tell their children first?
Pull over, make sure they're fine, make sure if they got any passengers are fine. Then you could get out, check on the other people, then start making the calls. I mean, I recommend don't say anything. other than when hey, are you okay? Because, they could have
Then
been
call
at
your
fault,
parents and say-
you
yeah.
think you did something wrong.
Right.
And it was really, they were just riding your butt trying to overtake you and hit you. Or, try to come around as you made the right turn. You're a kid. You're like, I try and tell my oldest now, because he's getting a few more years. He'll be ready to drive. Like, pay attention to your surroundings. What's going on around you? Have that space between that car in front of you.
Well, that's why I'm trying to tell my son, when you're teaching them how to drive, it's not so much you're driving, it's everybody else around you. It's like 99% of the time you're watching everybody else around you and being that defensive driver.
Same thing with motorcycle accidents. It's typically not the motorcycle guy's fault.
No, it's everybody else.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And Bike Week's coming up too. We'll have to do a little podcast on that. I don't know if you work on motorcycles, but Honda motorcycles you don't work on.
Nope.
We'll have to get you to start.
If I worked on bikes, it'd be bad for me because I do it like my cars. I'd be doing whatever I could to that thing. And
it'll be a crotch rocket.
I'd get on it and I'd probably kill myself.
Oh, well, hopefully your wife won't let you do that.
No,
so.
I won't. I just, I want to, but I think maybe when my kids are grown, I maybe just buy like a cruiser or something. But right now, I don't have an interest in them. I mean, they're cool. Like my brother, he's all into them.
I love riding on them when they come around town twice a year, and then I have my fix and I go because
you like the fake ones.
I like
don't ride all year, but only ride for that day.
I like riding on the back of them. I have no desire to actually drive one myself or go to learn how to do that because it's very dangerous.
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
So when you have a kid that's just learning to drive, I think one of the important things, and a lot of parents don't know how to do this either, which blows my mind, but one of the important things is teach them how to change a tire.
Yep.
That's
what I'm saying. Buy a cheap car because when it breaks, you can let them fix it.
Well, that what brings me in. You just sent the intro for the next thing. What are the top 3 safety things you should have in your child's car?
Jumper cables.
Yeah, always.
Always have a spare key stuck somewhere with a magnet under it because, I have family members now. They call me, and I always have the pop-a-lock thing in my car because they've called, hey, I'm over here at Steak and Shake. It's like 11 o'clock at night. Why aren't you home? Yeah, my mom's going to kill me. I'm like, where's your key? It's in the car. Where's the spare? It's in the car. So, then I drive over there to the wife's cousins and I get the door open.
Yeah, teach them how to use the cable wires, by the way.
Yeah, a coat hanger. A
coat hanger.
Yeah, if you don't have the pop thing, a coat hanger works just as good. But they should be able to.
What about that safety device that breaks the windows? Would you recommend that
well, not if you can get it open a different way.
No. So.
Well, if you go underwater.
Here's a problem
that's a
with
different
that.
story.
Yeah.
That, in all honesty,
that scares me. That was always my biggest fear when I was driving. Even still to this day, I hate bridges. And if I drive over a bridge, I literally white knuckle it because I'm like, oh my god, if I ever go in the water, my biggest fear was having the car go in the water and drowning.
Remember, you can't get out with the pressure against the door.
Right.
So when you have an air pocket in the car, you can't get out. So you could have that, but I would say have a hammer. A small hammer that you keep in the glove box, something.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Because you're going to panic trying to look for those stupid small little pens that you could totally push against the window and the spring load it and break. Trying to find it because all this stuff's going on.
So when you see all these kids riding around with hammers attached to their window or their rear view mirrors now, they could be using that as safety devices for real.
So,
they grab it and go. Like just put it on like a little string.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
pull it on a ribbon. Either. No, we need to start that trend.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
You find one of those small little hammers that are just bright orange. Keep in the glove. Tell them keep it in the glove box. This way.
Can you open the glove box if you go underwater with the pressure?
Yeah, it's plastic.
It's inside. It's not water pressure against it.
So they're gonna panic.
Hopefully they don't freak out or
They're gonna want to panic and want to open the window. Don't.
Yeah.
Because the water rushing in, you're gonna freak out. You're gonna run out of air.
Yeah.
And literally, then you're gonna drown.
Yeah.
You just wait. Let the car submerge. Let it fill up as it gets closer. Fill up with water. If you have manual windows, you just roll it down and swim out. If your car is just at the top, you can get the window open, fine, and get out. But most times, the water's going to rush in. If you only have all your windows closed, you don't have that one open. All that water's rushing in.
You just showed your age, by the way.
Why?
Alan,
I'm not that
and
old.
I'm going to ask Alan, and I'm going to see. So, what would be your? He did rolling down for the door. What would be yours
my van,
if you wanted to open it?
My van
rolling
window
too?
rolls down.
Because I would hit the button.
Yeah, that probably won't work.
Yeah, that won't work. Once you're fully underwater, it won't work.
Oh no, I'm just talking about in general because he's like, I'm rolling down. What the hell cars have the roll down windows nowadays?
My van does.
Not no new Hondas.
But just to add to your phobia.
Thanks.
No problem. Back in the 80s.
I don't think I've ever shared that with my parents, actually. I've never probably did.
back in the mid 80s, I used to have a boat hull cleaning business. and I was scuba diving under the boats, cleaning the whole stuff. I was doing it over at the Palm Coast Marina, and back then the boat ramp used to be open, and a guy tried to back his boat down, the trailer, and hit something. And so they thought a log had gotten under there, and I'm cleaning the bottom of the boat. So they pull me up, and they say, hey, can you go over there and, see get the log out of the way or whatever? And yeah, cool. So I go walk over to the boat ramp, and I walk down the water, and I get just down towards the edge of the boat ramp underwater, and I see the rear end of a car.
Oh.
So I came back up, and I said, it's not a log. There's a car down there. And so they called the police and tow trucks and all that stuff. Back then, the police, our local sheriff's department, this was probably around 84, 85-ish, probably 85, didn't have a dive team. So the tow truck guy's there, and he says, and the police are there, and they say, anybody in the car? So I go back down, and there's this guy's face pushed up against the driver's door window. And I came back up, and I said, the water's so bad, you can't see anything else. I said, yeah, there's at least one guy in there. And they said, well, can you take him out? I said, you're talking to the wrong guy.
I know, right?
I ain't touching nothing.
Hell no.
No way.
I'm not dive and rescue recovery
Yeah,
here.
you give me the hook from the tow truck, I'll hook it on the rear axle. After that, this is all
That's like
you
Titanic
guys.
shit.
Yeah.
That's
So
like crazy.
they pulled it up, and there was two older couples, four people in the car, and they had left. Back then there was a restaurant, the Sheraton restaurant over by the marina, and apparently they had left, and they mistook the boat ramp for the bridge road, and they drove down. Their windows were all electric. Not the doors, but the windows.
Yeah.
As they couldn't roll them down, and they had no way to break them, and they had to sit in there. And
yeah, that's my biggest.
yeah.
It's so
So I thought
fascinating.
I'd add to it.
Well, because it is my biggest fear or phobia. But have you watched the recovery? There's a show on I forgot what news or what station it was, but they dive recovery and look for cars and people that have been missing for 10 years, and they find them. It's insane.
Yeah, there's a couple guys out there that do that, but there's a couple big YouTubers that do it.
Yeah,
There-
and I
there's
watch
actually-
those. You can
there's
go down the
actually-
rabbit hole.
There's a guy in Palm Coast whose mom disappeared. I think I don't remember how, 2 or 3 decades ago, and they thought that she went to the store and then never came back. They thought she just kind of took off, and then they found her car with her in it about maybe a year or so ago.
Well, that's like the lady from last year who left the bowling alley. No one could find her. She ended up driving into the retention pond behind the F section. Remember, they ended up finding her. They ended up locating her because of the GPS in the car, and it was a rental car. That's how they ended up finding her. And I think it was days later, but still, my biggest But well, with that, we're gonna switch gears a little bit and go back to the kids.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It was. I haven't.
No, but for the kids.
I'm sweating from the anxiety just thinking about it now. So advice for parents that if they're actually buying a car off a Carfax, things they should look for in a Carfax report. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Can't really go off a Carfax report.
No.
That's all BS.
So a lot of the stuff, even if it's an accident, it's not reported on there?
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Wow.
Honest. So, I mean, you just have to use your better judgment.
Scandalous.
Take the car to a shop. There's a lot of places that sell cars that will allow you, like, hey, can you put this on the lift so I can look at it? There are a lot of Carfaxes that are good, reports that are good, but then, when you see that car that the price is too good to be true, it's got a clean car. There's a reason why.
Don't buy a car for Swift Swap either. I find those to be sketch.
Yeah, it's just,
You got this brand new Tahoe for like $2,300, and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah, those you definitely know.
Yeah, there's a lot of scams on the internet. Be careful with that.
Carfaxes aren't bad. It helps give you an idea, especially, when you find one where they have all the maintenance, because that means then the people have taken to the dealer. It's been reported. So then, that's not a bad car to buy. So they should look
for if they've gotten actual reports from dealerships.
Yeah, for maintenance, when they go to the DMV, to register, it's usually, you got to use your better judgment and take somebody with you or ask if you can bring the car to a shop. And especially if you really want to buy it for your child, then spend that $50, whatever the shop
Call Juan,
charges
he'll come look at the car for you. I've had him in a truck or two before.
You'll spend that $50 to the shop.
He'll be like, this is not worth it. So that's why it's good to have him around.
You had me look at a truck, and I popped the hood, and I was just like,
is this worth it? And he's like, no.
No. I said, no. I mean, they literally...
He looked a little stressed. I'm not gonna lie. After like 30 minutes there.
They JB welded the the coil packs to the intake manifold. So typical 5.4. The bolts break. The
I would have
spark
missed
plugs
all
break
that.
in the head. And I'm looking at every spot, every coil pack has been JB welded to the intake manifold.
I was like,
And I'm
I need
like-
one for my 16-year-old son. Can you come look at this? And he looked at me like 30 minutes later, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's a no.
Yeah. No.
They had a 2x4 under the bed, like, I don't know, it was doing, I think it was holding the gas pump into the tank. It was wedged. And like, I tried to move it, there was no moving this thing.
That was a swip swap truck too.
Oops.
Oops. Yeah.
So
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm glad we went over some safety stuff. I'm going to throw one last question at you before we roll up for both of you. What is your favorite item at Buc-ee's? I know this is crazy. Buc-ee's. I love Buc-ee's. It's a little crazy. It's like an ant farm every time I go in there. But my daughter loves it, and I don't think there's any other place like Buc-ee's out there. When you stop and you just need a couple things. You do?
Yes.
So what do you hate about Buc-ee's?
Not
The craziness?
Buc-ee's, just the people. They're just insane.
I mean, I like the prices of the gas.
Well, like you say, it's like
Yeah.
an ant farm.
Yeah. So
yeah,
when
but you
go in
tune that.
there-
You know where you're going. You know what you're getting into already. So,
like,
you just go in there and do your shit and leave.
I only stop there early in the morning, or if I go there, I only stop there early in the morning if I buy the guys breakfast. It's the only time I stop there.
You buy them breakfast.
Yeah.
Do you buy them Bucky Tots? My
Bucky
daughter
Tots.
loves those
Well,
for
I
breakfast.
buy them the brisket tacos and stuff. So those are
Okay.
more money, and they pretty much love those more.
Oh.
I go there early. That's the only time
You
I
don't
go in there.
get these nuts? Did you ever
No,
see those bags?
I've seen the bags of these.
Oh, Juan, you should get those to throw those out. You'd be
No,
like,
no,
hey,
listen,
guys, here's your
listen,
Valentine's gift.
I say enough already that could get me into a lot of trouble at work. So
I'm
I'd rather
sure
not.
they walk around and they run from you. We established that a few
No, they
episodes
don't run
ago.
from me. They're pretty.
They scatter.
No, they're pretty.
They're like, oh shit, he's
They'll
back.
talk stuff back, and sometimes I sit there. If HR heard some of the stuff they've said to me, and I said we'd all be without a job.
Are they? They don't speak. Do they speak Spanish? Usually when
two
they're
of
doing.
them do, and they always yell at me in Spanish because I'm yelling at them. 'cause
But
they're
you
not
do
doing
you
something.
know Spanish though,
Yeah.
right? Oh, so you know
So-
what they're saying.
They get pissed off. Like the
Got
one
your
the
translator
one
in your
I've known-
pocket.
Yeah, the one I've known for like over 20 years, and
That's awesome.
He drives me insane to this day. Some days where I literally, he says, "Where you going?" I said, "Dude, if I don't leave, I'm going to strangle you right now."
Well, you can't chase them all off because you know how hard it is to find a good mechanic.
It is. I had one quit recently,
No.
so in the last 2 weeks.
It wasn't
Not-
our,
not
it
that
wasn't
guy
our
you were
favorite-
really
I
excited
know,
about.
I was
No,
going to
no.
say, hopefully it's
No,
not the
no.
one holding on for dear life.
No. That one is still there. The other one, I knew it was coming. I couldn't make him happy. He was miserable about a ton of stuff. And
There, you just got to cut your losses at that point.
yep, and he just, it didn't matter. He didn't think there was any growth. I was trying to get him more money, but he wasn't happy. Every time you turn around,
He didn't like the brisket sandwiches from Buc-ee's, huh?
I don't know. But he'd get mad and stuff, so I just finally, he finally said he was leaving, and I just said, okay, I'm not going to try and make somebody stay. You're not happy. You're coming to me now. You rarely reach that point.
Yeah.
A lot of guys will say, "Oh, I'll stay because they give me money." But no, in 3 more months, you're going to leave
You
anyway.
probably should have
regardless
bought
of
him
the
more
money.
Buc-ee's, I'm telling you. You still
No,
didn't say
no.
your one favorite item, though.
I like the brisket tacos. The
Brisket
brisket
tacos.
brisket
Tacos.
burritos in the morning.
Oh, in the morning?
Yeah.
So it's got the eggs and stuff in it.
Yep.
What about you, Alan? I know you like the gas prices there.
Well, yeah, but they're not as good as they used to be.
Yeah.
BJ's and Costco are.
Yeah, but we're talking
Yeah.
about Buc-ee's.
Yeah, that's true.
So pulled pork sandwich.
Pulled pork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like the dough balls. My little girl, she loves the chocolate chip dough balls.
I try to be nice and eat one step above completely unhealthy.
Their turkey sandwiches are really good.
Yeah, I don't do that. Though.
You don't
I'm
do
not.
that?
I'm not that healthy.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
not that healthy?
No, turkey one time a year, maybe twice.
I love those. But the brisket actually is good too. So I don't know what my favorite would be because there's so many different things. It depends on what mood I'm in.
Yeah, well, it is a giant gasoline shopping center.
I mean, you could go there and get everything. That's the cool place about
Yeah,
it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
When I walk in there, it just makes me miserable because everybody's like, "Hey, welcome to." I'm like, "Oh my god!"
And
please
people are always
stop."
like, what is it like? I'm like, it's like a Bass Pro threw up in a Cracker Barrel mixed with a fast food restaurant. And they're all looking at me like, what is she talking about? I said, seriously, it's like all three of them had a baby and just spit it out and it's a Buc-ee's.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Well, you good to go? You want to wrap it up? Do you want to say, you want me to say
Yeah,
it?
you say it.
You say the opener, I say the closer?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks for
okay.
joining us on Get Under the Hood. We'll see you next week.